I've partially taken this blower apart already, and it runs, but it's got gigantic crack. And I can tell you what happened. I can probably tell you what happened. This was a curb find, and someone probably tried to use the mounting bolt to take off this on the back. You're taking the blower unit off, and this is all one. This whole plastic piece and this nut is all one piece. And what you don't want to do is use this to hold this, because what it'll do is there's a this whole thing is very fragile, and it's got like a keyway, but it's built as part of this casting, and it will snap off very easy. So the best way that I found, they have a still or steel or whatever, however you pronounce it. I pronounce it still. They have a couple tools. They have one you can insert in here that holds the piston, and they have another one that it's a bracket that mounts on here, and that too can cause, the bracket can also cause that bottom to break. And I've got a junker that's got a good bottom casting that I'm going to replace on this. What I found is something I used to do with lawnmowers and small engines, is just start feeding some string into the spark plug hole. And you have to make sure that you're not doing it on you want to make sure you're on the compression stroke, because you don't want the cord to get caught around the valve or something, because especially with these, the valves are really thin and small. It's called a 4-mix because it's all the characteristics of a 4-cylinder, but the gas lubricates the bottom crankcase, so there's oil in the gas, and that's how it's lubricated. So it's like a 2-cycle and a 4-cycle together. So this is how you figure out if it's on the compression stroke or not. You want to watch the valves. This is the intake, that's the exhaust. So you see it's on intake. Then the piston's coming up, it's on compression, and both these valves should be loose. That's how you know it's on compression. Both the rocker arms should be loose. Then it fires, it goes down, back up again, pushes out the exhaust gas, then it takes in a charge of gas or fuel. Then it's on compression stroke, it fires, goes down, comes back up, it pushes the exhaust gas out. So what you want to do is you wait after this, the intake, and then you can put something like a straw or something in there, and you can feel the piston at the top. See, it's right at the top. And then both these should be loose. See how loose they are? So then when they're like that, you can probably actually, let me think about this, because you got to put the string in. So exhaust, then intake, and then right after the intake closes, see the piston's down a little bit further, and both these are still loose. Wait a minute, that's a little, okay, there. Now they're both loose, and you got enough space to put some string in there. So start feeding the string in just a little bit after the intake. See, but they both have to be loose. let's push it all the way in. There. So that's what you want. You don't want it. And you never want to use. Power tools on this. Only hand tools only. Even though I use this to take the screws out. You can use something like this to take screws out and put them back in, but you don't want to use like a torque wrench, an air torque wrench or electric torque wrench. Spray a little bit of liquid wrench on it. Oh, great. It's lost all the there's still stuff in there, and it's, I guess I have to punch a hole in it or something and use it. Here's another can. $17mm. I'll let that sit for a little bit. I finally broke it loose, and what I used is I made my own piston stop, and I've always been afraid to use it till today. I decided today's the day, and the reason I didn't want to use it is because the one you buy from it's sunny out, I can't see what I'm. Oh, there it is. The one you buy from Still, it has a rubber point on the end, and of course I couldn't make a rubber point. So what I did is I measured the with a thread gauge the pitch of the spark plug, and I went and bought a bolt, a metric bolt. I think it's like 125, I think. I don't know what it's like, maybe 12-13 millimeter. Not really sure. The best thing to do is take a spark plug with you, and if you go to one of those hardware stores where they have where you can screw the bolt in, you know, they have like a board that has like samples of nuts, and you can screw the bolt in to see what kind of bolt it is. Take the spark plug with you and screw it. That's what I did. Take the spark plug with you and screw it in. And I think it's like 12 by 125. I'm not sure. It could be 225. It's a really fine thread. And so it works. And also used something else too. I used another trick too. So here's what I made. So I took it on a grinder. I made that to point. I was always kind of concerned that, you know, it might crack the piston, but it works. It does. And also use this too, which is this is an inductive heater. I used to use a torch. You couldn't use a torch on this because it's the plastic. And you know, you can use a torch to heat bolts up, and it rusted bolts. It really does really good to get them loose. You know, everything expands and it cracks the rust, I guess. Another thing too is to heat it up and then squirt water on it, and it shocks it. Everything is expanding and contracts, and that can also facilitate getting the bolt off. And so this is an inductive, like I said, inductive heater. Comes with a bunch of different tips. It has this one I made myself, I think, and they're really nice. I mean, you know, It's not real expensive. I mean, it was like about maybe $125, you know, on eBay. I think I bought it. I can't remember if it was Amazon or eBay. I think it was eBay. And I mean, you know, 125 is a lot, but if you do a lot of work and you do work on exhaust systems and rusty bolts and stuff like that, I mean, this is a real time saver, you know. And you can, before I had this, you know, working on an exhaust system, you end up mangling everything, you know, and you just end up having to get new pipes. And with this, you get the bolts out and you just put a new gasket in and then new bolts, and then off you go. So anyway, let me show you this. See, I got this off. See, the whole thing on spin, it comes off as one piece, and that's why I want to be careful heating this up, because I don't know how far that metal goes into the plastic, if it will come loose. See, there it is. So now the next step is to take the motor out and then put the bottom on, put it all back together, and it'll be ready. What we have to do now is move these 4 Torx heads. They're 27, I think. So we can take the motor. They're really in there. What I don't want to do is trip this out. Uh-oh. Oh. Okay, so we got one left. This thing is starting to, it's either oh, there it goes. It's really strange that they use such a coarse bolt in you know, in aluminum. Usually, this looks like something that would go into plastic. So as you can see here, see the crack right there. And again, that comes from, if you use these, I mean they have a bracket. They still sells that you bolt onto this to hold the motor while you try to take the take this off. And I mean, you can crack it from that. Or you can break one of these off. I did that. I made my own bracket. I made it just like what it looked like when I broke one of the arms off on another one of these. I got 6 of these. I threw them away. I threw 6 of them away. One I have running already, and this one runs, but like I said, it needs a new lower crankcase cover. And take that apart, loosen a little bit. I mean, it doesn't matter. Oh, look, there's one. It's broken off. It's been snapped off. I mean, that's. But I mean, this doesn't matter because this one's thrown away. But when you put it back together, yeah, these don't have a gasket. You just put some kind of silicone sealant to seal it. It's a great little motor. It'd be great for making like a some kind of RC. Oh, this one was a small. That came out of here. That's strange. I'm thinking it might be the wrong bolt. Yep, snapped off right there. See, they just put sealant on there. Which I thought I was just going to be able to put a new cover on. Oh, yeah, see, it cracked all the way through. I thought I was just going to be able to put a new cover on, and that was it. I'd put it on and go. But I'm going to have to, if I can't get the pair of pliers on, I have to drill it out. If I have to drill it out, I have to remove the crankshaft and the gears. I don't know if you can pull that out with leaving the gears because if you rotate, yeah, you can't. You have to do all the timing and everything. Hopefully I can grab that with a pair of vice grips and get it to turn. Oh, it's still got part of the case on. There's another part. New part of the. Oh, good. It's unscrewing. So what I think is that I think this is the wrong screw. It looks like it broke off. I think this is part of this. That's so weird. Yeah, yeah. They're the same size. No, they're not. I don't know. Well, anyway, I got it out, and that's good. That's the good news. I gotta carefully peel all this stuff off without it getting into the motor. Give me a little bit of carburetor cleaner, which this stuff I don't know if it's it says will not harm catalytic converter, but the newer cans, this is from Walmart, they'll say that on there, and it got basically the same thing. So that's one thing you probably shouldn't skimp on, and just get what I do is I get the auto body cleaner from Rock Auto. It's only like $3 a can, and it's gum out, I think, or Permatex, and the same stuff, like Advanced Auto Parts, or AutoZone, and everything. It's like twice as much, or even 3 times. I went in there to buy 4 quarts of Piston antifreeze, and they charged me $30. I needed it, so I had to buy it. But I can get it at like in Walmart for like $11. They have great batteries too. And on aluminum like this, you have to be really careful what you use in the way of like scraping tools, because you can gouge aluminum and make like a little channel, especially something like this. Basically, this has to be airtight, or as airtight as possible. And when you do stuff like this, you always have to make sure that these bolt holes are clean, because if there's anything in there, when you put it back together, you put the bolt in, it's going to push it out all over the surface, and it'll ruin your nice gasket. But these just go to, oh, that's what it is. That other one that I took out that was so short, it's broken off. Gosh, how do you snap off two bolts? Snap one off, then go and snap the other one off. Probably turn them the wrong way. Just when I thought this was going to be easy. Is there a helicoil in there? Just when I thought this was going to be easy. I guess I could build up like something around this with tape. Just tape this all up real good. And get something to poke that with. I could probably take tin foil and just cover this whole area, and then tape it also. Because in here, if I take the crankshaft out, in here there's a gear, a big gear, and then there's tappets, and there's little push rods that go up to these tubes. Sometimes what you can do is if you can catch, so right is the way the bit's going to turn, so it may just catch and spin it all the way out through the other side, because the other side's open, which all these are, so you don't have to worry about anything building up in the threads like I was saying earlier, because it goes out through the bottom. So it could just spin it out, or I could catch it and then put it in reverse and pull it out and spin it out. So there it is. Be a nice little motor for an RC plane or an RC boat. You know, I think there's another one broken off. Maybe not. No. There, I put it together. I can use JB weld and glue it together and you reuse it. So I decided I'm gonna drill that out without taking the motor apart. So what I've done is tinfoil the whole bottom up, and then also put duct tape over the intake and the I think it's like a PCV, and then the muffler I'm not too worried about. So there's where the broken bolt is. So to make sure it's down so the pieces of stuff don't get in the crankcase. I'm going to probably going to flush out the crankcase real good. You know, pour something in there and turn it upside down real quick, and then lube everything up and put it back together. So there's the broken nut, a broken bolt. Like I said, sometimes you can just catch those. You know, put it in reverse, and it just spins the bolt right out. I hope that's what it will do. I'm not really looking forward to having to drill the whole bolt out and maybe put a helicoil in or something. I'm going to do it on my drill press. This is my drill press. What I discovered when drilling it, that the bolt is it's spinning, and I've been turning it with a I tried to turn it counterclockwise so I could try to withdraw it, but apparently the threads are, well, probably for a bolt it wouldn't be anything, but when you're turning it with a, you know, a pick like this, you don't have much you know, friction or torque on the bolt to turn it. So what I did is I'm tightening it. I'm turning it to the right, and what it's doing is it's backing out. I hope I've got enough. Hope I have enough. You know, there's a cooling fin. I hope it comes out before it hits the cooling fin. So right now I'm using a pair of pliers and really gingerly turning it. It's a lot easier. So this is what's the bolt sitting the fin. And it seems like it's only got like a millimeter or two more to come out. You know, so I'm going to try to bring it out through the top. The other thing is I could find a bolt that's short that I could put in there that goes in far enough, but it doesn't hit the broken bolt that's in there. I think I'll try to get it out through the top first. What I'm going to do is I have this Dremel tool and I have a little cutoff wheel, and I'm going to try to cut off the end of the bolt so I can screw it all. If I try to screw it all the way out, it hits the fin. So if I cut off just a little bit, hopefully it's enough to be able to screw it all the way out. So I cut this amount off, so hopefully that's enough to get the bolt out. The plan worked perfect. That's what's left of the bolt. And I got it out, so I'm going to flush out the lower end with some some gasoline, and then let it dry, and then clean another lower crankcase that I had from another one, and I'll put it together, and I'll have another working motor. Here's my donor bottom crankshaft, and I cleaned everything up real good, cleaned this up. So I covered the crankcase with Permatex and reassembled it. And if you're wondering which way the crankcase goes on, there's only one way. The bolt holes have to line up. I've tightened everything down finger tight till the Permatex starts to squeeze out a little bit. And then you're supposed to let it dry for an hour and then tighten it down fully. It's an hour later. I'm going to tighten down the crankcase bolts. I cleaned both the halves of the blower assembly. They're not perfectly clean, but they look a lot better than they did. Some of the grime, it's like it's tattooed into the plastic. There's the finished crankcase. The new gasket for the valve cover. Installed the new gasket. Installed the spark plug. Install the motor in the top part of the blower. Install all the screws and tighten. Spin on the impeller. Install the piston stop. With the piston stop installed, go ahead and tighten this up. We get a lot of helicopters. Install the blower tube. Tighten down all the, just tighten them down, finger tight. Now tighten them all down. You want to be careful on how tight you make them. They're very easy to strip. Up the side, I'm going to clean the backpack up, and I've taken the screws out that hold it in. There's one left on here on this side, and the same for these two.